Hello, I hope you're having a great start to the weekend. We've had a great day over here. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 tips to help reduce calories without noticing. And this is big because keeping our calories in check is going to support a healthy, long life. We know that it is going to help manage or even reduce our weight. And it's also going to help us with preserving our muscle if we do it in the right way. And something that I want to really clear up with all women is that yes, we do need muscle because the more muscle we have, the faster our metabolism naturally is. And that is a big reason why so many of us, as we get older, our metabolism slows down. And it can be a variety of reasons. But one of the things that adds to that is naturally we lose like between 1 and 3% of our muscle mass every year past the year of 40 years old. So as that happens, our metabolism gets slower and slower, which means we need less and less and less food unless we're counteracting that with a diet that supports our muscle and exercise that does that as well. So let's get into the first tip for reducing calories while keeping the metabolism revving. Tip number 1 is to have balanced meals. If you're having low calories and all you're eating is carbs and you're not fueling your body with protein and healthy fats, then you're just not going to be able to maintain that muscle. So balanced meals means that you are having protein, carbs, and fat at every single meal. Salmon, rice, broccoli. The salmon has fat in it. You could add a little bit of avocado. I mean, even a sandwich is a great example. Have a tuna sandwich. You've got tuna, you've got mayo as a fat, you've got carbs as the bread. If you are just having a piece of toast with butter, there isn't really any protein in there. Whereas with the tuna, you're obviously getting that tuna as the protein. So it's making sure that there's always that balance of those 3 things is going to go a long way in stabilizing your blood sugar, avoiding us just snacking constantly, and just helping to fuel our body with the nutrients that it really needs. Which leads me to number 2, which is fiber. Okay, fiber is like not sexy to talk about. I realize that, but fiber is so important for keeping us full, for helping the body to work optimally, for cleansing the body. And of course, fiber usually comes with nutrients because a lot of the fibrous foods are cruciferous vegetables or vegetables and fruit in general. Of course, some of the carbs, right, are quinoa, are sweet potatoes, whole grain breads. Those kind of things are great in moderation, but you want to prioritize the fiber and aim to get about 25 grams of fiber per day. I'm doing this live and I want to see, lovely Brenna made a comment. Can you post some videos of your daily diet routine? I'm struggling, LOL. Like, yes, I mean, you are not alone. I think for many of us, especially busy women and busy mothers, like trying to like have the perfectly clean, healthy diet can be really, really tricky. So I'll make sure I post some videos, but something that I use that helps with the busyness to support the muscle, the metabolism, the recovery is Amino H2O. And I mean, you guys know, if you've ever watched any of my videos, Amino H2O is like a big deal for me and for thousands of women in our community. I've been using branched chain amino acids, which is what this formula is, for well over 15 years now. It's something that I really stand behind, which is why we had our nutrition team create Amino H2O, which is our version, which also has electrolytes to help give you that natural energy without caffeine or anything like that. But branched chain amino acids, like the ones you'll find in here in the clinically validated ratio of 2 to 1 to 1, are proven to really help your body build and support muscle growth and muscle repair. So when you're exercising, even when you're doing yoga, when you're doing body weight workouts, don't have to lift weights in order to challenge your muscle. Trust me. Try and do 15 push-ups and tell me that wasn't tough, right? You don't need weights to challenge your muscle. That's one thing that's inherently true and undisputable. But when you do that, you're creating little micro tears in your muscle, and then your muscle is like, oh, I have to repair. And each time it repairs, it gets stronger. So Amino H2O helps optimize that process. Your body doesn't even have to break down the protein foods into amino acids. It's already done, so it really gets absorbed by the body very quickly. So it's something amazing to have during your workouts or in the afternoon. Some days when I'm not even exercising, I'll have it just to help give me a little bit of pep in my step. I find it satisfies my sweet tooth hugely, which is another great thing. It's 0 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar. And for you, we have an amazing, amazing deal at the link that I placed here around this video. Follower only link. If you search for it online, you won't find it anywhere else. So make sure you tap that link. Stock up on Amino H2O Wild Watermelon. It is phenomenal. The flavor is so, so good. And the great thing is, if you like the flavor more concentrated or less, you can just add more or less water. So I like a good bit of water to just dilute the flavor a little bit. And I find that that's perfect. You could have it in a regular cup or a shaker cup. But that is tip number 3, I think is what I was on. Amino H2O, incorporating branched chain amino acids into your routine to prioritize muscle, help shape lean, sexy curves, provide that little anti-aging kick, and keep our metabolism high even as our body gets smaller. As opposed to when we lose muscle and fat, our body gets smaller, and so does the food that's on our plate because we just don't need as much. So that is tip number 3. Tip number 4 is about coffee and tea. Coffee and tea and caffeine naturally has some appetite suppressant properties in it. So that's why for a lot of us, instead of, like, for example, a good spot where I will have tea instead of something to eat is like that mid-morning. Say around, like, I've had breakfast around 7:30 because I have it with my son most mornings. And then instead of reaching for something around like 10 o'clock, I'll have a cup of tea. Now, if I still find I'm hungry after a cup of tea, then I'll have a little snack, or I like to have a cup of tea and some almonds, something like that. But tea or coffee is a great way to help reduce the appetite a little bit and provide your body with some really great things that help support metabolism too. I do like to have tea a little later in the day because I'm very sensitive to caffeine and it really impacts me. I won't even go into coffee or tea ignite in here, but you know, if you want to know more about coffee and tea ignite, leave me a comment and I'll make sure I hook you up with all the details on that. Then the 5th and final tip is bone broth. Now, you can buy this in jars, which I have before, and I really like that. I also recently just picked up these packages of bone broth, which I'm not as big of a fan of, to be honest, because it feels just a little more processed to me. But it was on sale and I wanted to try it. But I love the jars of bone broth, or you could make it yourself. It's very simple. This is something that you can sip on. You have it warm, and it is great because it has some collagen in there. It has 10 grams of protein in there. This one is an example. So it's a great thing to add in, especially into the fall and winter months, because it's warming. It's got some protein. And I find if I have this, again, mid-morning or mid-afternoon, kind of between meals, it really just staves off that hunger without adding a ton of calories. This has 70 calories. Most bone broths, you know, for a cup have less than 100 calories, and it's like pure protein. So that is a really great thing to add. So those are my top 5 tips for helping to reduce calories but maintain shape and muscle and curves, which promotes anti-aging, which promotes a healthy, strong, toned body, and I think just makes life a lot better when you feel strong and healthy rather than like skinny and frail, you know. I've had times in my life where I, especially in my 20s, when I was just into fitness, where I really lost a ton of weight and I just didn't, you know, it was before I started using aminos or started using them regularly. It was when I was lifting a ton of weights. I was overdoing it, and I just lost so much strength and shape, and I was just really skinny. And for me personally, I would rather have a little more curves, a little more shape, and I would rather feel strong. And that is what Yoga Burn and Amino H2O has done for me and so many women here in the Yoga Burn community, and can hopefully do for you as well. So take advantage of the savings today. Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll see you again soon. Big hugs, lots of love. Bye-bye.